welcome aboard. It's Tuesday. It is heading back to the window with Scott and Scott. It's an hour later than usual, so thanks for everybody that remembered, and apologies for everybody that didn't know. I am, of course, your host, Scott Steen, lead handicapper at winnersandwhiners.com, and this jet-setting young fellow on the other side of me is...
Garrett, senior handicapper over winnersandwhiners.com.
And together, we do this every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, except today, when we do it at 4 o'clock, as we help you to head back to the window. So that's today to Mr. Steen. Starts with your premium picks today, David. All right, buddy, let's get it. Let's get it, man. You're. I wish you'd have been there before the weekend. I had a nice NFL weekend going 5-0 on the premium side, but we'll see if we can keep it rocking today. Good luck. Again, thanks everybody for joining us here an hour late. Scott is in beautiful Miami at the what hotel you staying at, bud?
Staying at the Fontainebleau.
The Fontainebleau. The Fontainebleau. Probably, is that the nicest hotel?
Basically, the way that you just pronounce it, the way you think it would be spelled.
Yeah. It's not Fontainebleau. The Fontainebleau.
Fontainebleau.
Nicest hotel in Miami, probably.
In my opinion.
Yeah. It's nice of you. You're buying the rooms for everybody, right?
I'm not buying the rooms. I'm buying the drinks for everybody.
Nice. It is good to be here. We got David in the house, of course. IC is here. IC getting every. He's the one that remembered it started at 4 o'clock today. T-Train in the house. The Florida Kid. That's right. And in honor of the Florida Kid, I didn't turn on any of my lights too because I know you got bad lighting there in the hotel room. So I just
wasn't bad lighting. I just opened up a couple blinds, hoped it would help out, and so far it looks like it did. So that's a good start. Big X is here. TL, good to see you. TL, JR Black, what's up, guys? Hey, thanks again for everybody that joined us last night doing our live broadcast. It kind of devolved away from football. So if the game was better, we would have kept it on football. Yes, but that did not happen. Yeah, we knew. We talked about it before the show today, Scott. As soon we had a bad feeling, and then Murray threw the pick six there at the 10-yard line, and we knew we were fucked. We knew the broadcast. You mean the underhand pick six? Yeah. Thanks very much. We knew it was going to go off the rails. So Jones is jealous of Florida. I'm freezing. We're all freezing, Jones. It's about to get colder. So yeah. It's like a bag of dicks, all you people in Florida and Arizona. But hey, Joan, we'll check back with them in the middle of July when it's like 105 with 98% humidity down there in Miami. So, Scott, you going to go any clubs with bottle service and all that? Going to meet you some hotties down there in Florida? All the models hang out and stuff. I'd rather meet them on the beach, but when looking at my actual plans for the trip, mostly seeing family. So that's going to be the first priority, but I do plan at some point on going by the Hard Rock in Hollywood and playing some poker for probably a day or so. T-Train wants to know, what's our take on Texas Tech and Iowa State? Scott, that's a great question because Iowa State we thought was going to be really good. They played some real good games. They're not bad. I mean, they almost beat Kansas the other day. Yeah. So, and they kind of had some downtime, and then they stepped up against KU. Texas Tech, I don't know. I thought they were a lot big. I thought they were a lot better before their last game. Where you come down on this one, bud? I think it's a lot of points for a Texas Tech team that I'm still not sold on offensively. Am I sold on Iowa State offensively? No. So I think you'll see a lower scoring game that should be close. But Texas Tech lost to your team. I know. What's up with that? I'd feel so much better if Texas Tech would have just run over K-State like they were supposed to. They're 4.5-point favorites, and K-State didn't puke one away at the end. I was pretty impressed, and that was of course at home there in Bramlage. Iowa State is going to be on the road for this one. I just think it's a lot of points. I don't know, man. It feels like a lot. I know the total in this one's is around 129, give or take. I like the under if I had to make a pick, just because both defenses are allowing less than 60 points per game. They're both elite defensively, and we know Texas Tech, if they're known for anything offensively, it is not pace. So I expect to see a lot of really just ugly half-court possessions. The under is my favorite play in the game. But once again, it's another one of those correlated situations where most of the time, if you like an under, you tend to like the underdog because you're not expecting many points. Yep. Texas Tech put up 51 against K-State.
K-State, decent defense, but they shouldn't be good enough to hold an elite team like Texas Tech is maybe supposed to be to 51. So we'll see. And Texas Tech, despite not having Beard, still plays pretty good defense.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it was a Beard assistant who took over, right?
Right.
So the system's still in place.
In-house.
I mean, that's not going to change.
Correct. Baylor lost last game, so that's not going to happen tonight.
It's actually false, Joan. They've lost the last 2 games.
Now, what's up with the Baylor Bears all of a sudden, Scooty?
They're going through a bit of a slump. I actually watched the end of that Oklahoma State game. Oklahoma State's not a good team, so that's a pretty bad loss there. But yeah, it just seemed like the issue was either cold shooting or just really untimely turnovers, especially against Oklahoma State. I know they cut it to 1. They went on a serious run. Then Flagler had back-to-back turnovers down the stretch, which were absolutely brutal. But Baylor in that game against Oklahoma State shot 31% from the floor and 28.6% from 3. You're not going to win many games shooting like that. And the game prior against Texas Tech, they shot 41.1% from the floor and 33.3% from 3. So the main reason why, really bad shooting. That's kind of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The defense is still good. It's the offense that just fell apart.
Well, and that's usually a pretty good huggy defense there, especially up in at home in West Virginia. I think personally, Baylor rallies the troops. I think they're too good not to make a comeback here. I think it could start here against this kind of inconsistent West Virginia team. So we'll see.
I think it could too. West Virginia's still undefeated at home. I know we ended up backing them for play of the day at some point, either last week or 2 weeks ago. But I don't think West Virginia is a talented basketball team. I think that West Virginia gets by with a lot of just huggy quality defense. But you actually look at the offense, who do they have? They have McNeil as the shooter. And that's kind of it. I mean, they got Sherman, who's pretty good. And isn't that basically it? I mean, they don't have many guys.
Well, and the other problem that I'm looking at here for Baylor, and I'd like to know. I know Brad wanted us because it's getting ready to start. Have anybody got a status on Okinjo? Because I've still got him as questionable for this one.
I didn't see any updates.
Yeah, I've got Okinjo as questionable and Sochan is questionable.
But that was my point. But my point was that Sherman is averaging a team high 18.9. You have McNeil, who's averaging 14.3. Next highest score, 8.8. They have 2 players averaging over 9 points per game. That's not going to fly.
Mm-mm. What's your pick here, buddy?
I'm going Baylor, but I think Baylor's too talented. The backcourt, I think, is good enough to really put the clamps down on West Virginia. And unlike most years, West Virginia is really not a good rebounding team. Of course, their main rebounder last year went to Kentucky, and now he's putting up almost 20 rebounds a game. He's been absolutely insane. But West Virginia is a smaller team compared to normal seasons, and Baylor's more physical, and they're better. So I just think it's a bad matchup for West Virginia. I like the team total under on the Mountaineers. I'm not sure how they're going to score.
Are you worried about losing rebounding if Sochan doesn't play?
For West Virginia or for Baylor?
For Baylor.
Well, I'm saying West Virginia's leading rebounders averaging 5.9 rebounds per game.
Well, but
they don't have many guys anyway.
Yeah, I know, and they've still got they've still got the big guy there. Say it. What's his name?
Oh boy, Osabuinhin.
No. Chama Chichua.
Are you talking about Baylor? I was talking about West Virginia's leading rebounder. That's also a mouthful.
No, yeah.
But Baylor's got a lot of guys, and the point is that we know if they can shoot even average, they should mop the floor with West Virginia, because you're looking at the actual scoring for the Mountaineers. They don't have any guys. Give me the team total under on West Virginia, but I think Baylor should win this game.
All right,
pretty handily.
All right, let's get to it. Let's take a look at yesterday's action. Find out who's the winners, who's the whiners, who took it in the shorts, and who got lucky last night. Scott, you know who you are. Who had to call the cops? All right, Scott. Let's get it started as we so often do in the NBA. Taking a look at the Bucks and the Hawks under 233. Scott, this game was sitting at 224 with 19 seconds left. You got to figure you're probably good, but it's the NBA. You never know for sure. There's scramble points, and man, did they scramble. They had 11 points in the last 19 seconds. Game landed 235, buddy. If you had the under 233 there, so sorry. You got to call them cops.
And looking at a college basketball game, probably the most entertaining game on the card yesterday. If you had Purdue and Illinois under 148, you only had 138 in regulation, but that's an even number. 69-69. Not nice. Game went to overtime. It went over. And then just to spite you, they went to double overtime. Game landed 184.
Brutal.
And Purdue should have easily won the game. They were up double digits for the majority of the second half.
Yeah. I hate those games where you have the under 148 and then you look at the box score and you look at the final score, it's 184. Like, well, you're just an idiot. It wasn't even close. Like, yeah, well, look closer. Finally, if you had Seattle, California Baptist under 148, bad day to play the unders yesterday, Scott, if we've learned nothing else except in the NFL. They had 143 with 4 seconds left. Oh, God. Seattle, here they come. Anything but the 3 to tie it.
Foul.
Foul. Can I interest you? Why did they not foul? Stop it. What are you doing? Why do you let them shoot it? God's sakes. Well, they did. They hit it. Into overtime we go. 146. That's just a memory. 73-73. Suck a bag of dicks. Game landed 177 after overtime. Holy shit. That is an overtime period right there. 31 points in overtime. Nicely done. Call the cops, would you?
Just foul somebody. You're up 3. Just
somebody commented on you having to work on vacation.
I have not taken a day off from work in like years.
Here's the dirty little secret about our jobs. We always work on vacation. We get 4 days off a year. This is no shit. It is the.
I'm sorry. You get 4 days off?
Yes, it's the. We didn't last year because they fucked up.
I have not taken a single day off in the span of like 4 years.
Yes, you have, because it's the Monday, the Tuesday of the All-Star game. It's the Wednesday after the All-Star game, and it's the Thursday where they usually have one game. Those are the 4 days off we get a year.
I thought we usually make videos during those anyway.
No, because since you and I have been doing it, it's been all pandemic scheduled. But usually, when they're not bleeding over the NBA into the summer, we get those 4 days off. So there you go.
I thought I was writing college during that time.
No, there's nothing else going on.
Really?
No, there's no sports in that week.
Okay.
Nothing.
Maybe I just forgot. Not even UFC?
I don't know. Fucking UFC. Maybe.
Oh, boy.
Okay. All right. But so, and again, don't think we're bitching about it because we love what we do.
I can travel and get paid at the same time.
Yes,
I can't really complain.
That's why you guys will occasionally see me shooting videos from hotel rooms as well. And that's why. That's what we're doing. So, all right, Scott. Well, the opposite of course, call the cops is the people that were in the good position. These are the happy folks that were right where you want to be. I bet I know what one of these is going to be, but let's find out who else was sitting in the rocking chair.
So, first one in hockey, if you had the Sharks on the money line against the Kings, you led 4-1 after one period, and you won 6-2. Timo Meier, forward for the Sharks, 5 goals. That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. What do you call that? If a 3 is a hat trick, what do you call that? Is there a name for it?
A pay raise? I don't know.
Okay, good chat.
Should get paid more. I don't know.
If you had, how do we not have the Rams in this? What the fuck? Rams isn't on this list?
I kind of saved it for.
Oh, okay.
I mean, we could. I kind of saved it for another segment, but
all right, fair enough. I should read the whole sheet. Hornets +2. Here we go. If you had the Hornets +2 against the Knicks, they led by 18 points at halftime. There's no second half shenanigans. No overtime bullshit. They ended up winning by 10. Sure, they pissed on their shoes a little bit in the second half, but that didn't matter. Double-digit win is a double-digit win. Congratulations. You never needed those 2 points.
And the last one, if you had Denver +8 against the Roos in college basketball, well, you had a pretty solid bet because Denver never trailed by more than 3. They led by 7 at the half, and they won by 8.
Poor Roos. That's a typical UMKC season. You start the non-con, you're like, maybe this team, they're not so terrible. And then they play a couple conference games, you're like, no. And then, yeah, about the third or fourth game of conference play, you're like, oh, yeah, they suck again.
Yep.
Terrible. We've talked about the Roos and how bad they are, how historically awful they are, and it sucks. All right, Scott, let's check in with the comments here. Best job ever. Yeah, dude, we love it. We dig the shit out of this. UMKC, Kansas City's college hometown. My daughter goes to school there. My daughter graduated from there, Brad. Congratulations. Yeah, it's a great school. Unless you like basketball, it's not good. It's a good cheap basketball ticket. You occasionally get to see decent teams come to town, and it's a fun place to see them. You get a little small college gym feel, but
they pay you to go to the games.
Yeah. When you go to the Roos games and you hear them going Roo, they're not saying Roo. They're saying boo. So you need a blind squirrel segment. I like the opposite of call the cops that people got lucky. Yeah, I've thought about that. I've thought about like the Hail Mary segment, or about kind of the opposite, where you have no business winning the game and you end up doing it.
That's kind of the same as the call the cops, though, just the opposite side.
Right. That's exactly what he said. Ninja's asking about the Dukies minus the Florida State. Since you're down there in Florida, Scott, I'm sure you have an opinion on that.
I know the Seminoles are usually very good at home, but I've said numerous times the Seminoles team is not nearly as good as it has been in years past. Duke lost to Miami at home. We know that Duke is still a solid team. Miami's pretty good too, even though they burned me earlier this year. I understand why people are automatically on Florida State, just based on spot and the fact that Florida State at home is historically very good. I don't think the team's very good, so I'm going to pick Duke.
What are you laying there? What do you got for a number on that?
It's about 5.
Yeah, I got it 5 as well.
Duke, I think, even though they are not in my opinion, a team that's going to compete seriously for a championship, they're still probably a top 5 team in the country.
Yeah.
And Florida State, I don't even know if they're top 25. I just think there's a huge discrepancy in talent this year between the two. I'll take Duke. But if you like Florida State at home, I understand the historical trends. I'm just saying, historically, this is one of the weaker teams Leonard Hamilton's had as coach in the last decade.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think they may round into shape a little bit later. But, the Duke team, they've just had that one. Well, they lost to Ohio State on the road. That home loss to Miami.
They were winning that game. They fell apart down the stretch.
Yeah, and that home loss to Miami is just inexplicable. But they did recover nicely, picking up the winning cover on the road at Wake Forest, and then took care of business against a pretty awful North Carolina State team, by the way. You know what? Give me
a lot of bad teams in the ACC this year.
Yeah, it really is.
Syracuse is awful as well. There's really not many great or even just good teams in the ACC. Virginia's bad too.
Maybe under 145. You guys think Ohio State beats Uwe by 50? We talked about that. We talked about taking Uwe as a bet the farm play. But
yeah, we actually are not on Ohio State tonight because they're a bit shorthanded. They're missing a couple of guys. They're missing Suing, who is averaging double digits, pretty solid player there. Now, Uwe awful. We know that. And we know the overs have started to cash in their games. The issue is with Ohio State, are they really going to be incentivized to rub it in? Maybe not. They might just bring in the bench unit early because they should be up by a lot. But they are going to be missing a couple of guys. One of them's significant. The others are really not that significant. But I don't really want to back a team that's a little bit shorthanded, laying a huge number.
33, man. 33 is just so many points.
It's a ton.
It really.
If it was football, I'd take it.
Yeah, I think the Buckeyes could cover 33 against the Uwe football team.
I think they'll win handily. But if I had to guess a point margin, I'd say 25. 28.
Yeah, 25. Whatever. I was going to say 25 to 27, right in there.
Yeah.
What's your is a UFC question? I'm going to try it here, Scott. He goes Medvedev.
Oh, you think it's a UFC fight? That's cute. That's tennis.
Oh, Medvedev is tennis, of course. Kyrgios, sorry. All right. So what's your take there?
What's my take? Kyrgios is going to start off pretty hot because he's a great server. Medvedev will keep the ball in play all the time. Kyrgios will have a bunch of unforced errors and will mentally collapse. Do I think he will win in straight sets? I think Kyrgios could win one. The crowd in Australia. Truth is, I actually don't even know if they like him that much. It seems like he's obviously a polarizing figure. Some people like him, some people don't. I'm talking about Australians, not just people who watch him from afar.
Why is he polarizing?
Because he's the kind of guy who tries a little bit to be the McEnroe, where he'll just yell at the umpire and he'll do random stuff that a lot of people think is a little bit unsportsmanlike, so to speak. So it kind of rubs some people the wrong way. I think he's entertaining, but you kind of get tired of his shtick when he does it for the 8th straight year. But Medvedev, for my opinion, is a brick wall, and I think he's just a bad matchup for Kyrgios because Medvedev is a great returner. He's lengthy, and if you force Kyrgios to make an extra shot, he's going to do something stupid. He'll go for a between the leg shot. He'll go for a random dropper. Medvedev eventually is going to wear him down.
Fair enough. Nathan Cerna says I feel a little dirty taking Uwe Pui at plus 33.
I don't blame you.
I agree. I think it is the play, though.
I think if you wanted to make a play on that game, but you don't want to fully back Uwe Pui, you go for an Ohio State team total over, but then you're living really dangerously.
Yep. It's almost the same bet, but not quite.
Yeah.
Brownsbacker, tell us you got here late without telling us you got here late. Wants to know about West Virginia Baylor. Where'd we come down on this, guy?
I'm going Baylor, but I like West Virginia team total under.
All right, fair enough. Eastern Michigan, another game we looked at for Bet the Farm. Eastern Michigan plus 3.5 over Kent State.
I like the dog in that one.
Yeah.
I mean, Kent State is awful on the road. They're also just not very good. In most years, they're an above-average team in the MAC. I think that's a pretty safe statement to say.
Yeah.
But this year, they're not. They're kind of middle of the road, if that. Eastern Michigan's kind of the same boat, but at home, they're really good. So I do think if you want to take an underdog play with a potential money line parlay, sprinkle something in there, I really don't mind Eastern Michigan. I think they're very live to win the game.
I got to tell you, anytime I see a conference game with a home dog, I've got to take a serious look at that because that's usually,
especially with the home road numbers for both teams.
Right. Baylor going to come back strong today. I don't doubt that.
That's what we think.
Yep. Houston.
It's a really tricky spot for Houston because on one hand, they're significantly more talented than South Florida, and that's a given. Houston is the best team in the conference, and that's a no-brainer. However, they are going to be missing one player in this game who is pretty significant. I'm trying to remember what his name was.
Oh, they're missing. They're going to be missing Jamal Sheed.
Yes, that is correct. So that's not exactly a serious loss, but he's averaging 9.3 points per game, 5.4 assists per game. The assist is the big part for me because he's clearly the floor general of the team. And I do think you might see them a little bit disorganized offensively without their main point guard, the main facilitator on that team. So I'm really not interested in laying that many points with Houston, but they're also unstoppable at home. So I'm just going to take a South Florida team total under and just assume Houston puts the clamps down.
I'm gonna tell you how this has gone the last 3 years. Houston from
the bloodbath
has shot 51.7%, 60%, and 53.2%.
But how'd South Florida do offensively in those games?
Yeah, not good. Yeah. Houston wins by 17, 36, and 17.
I remember I had the 36-point game, I think, where they were up 30 at the half. It was absolutely insane. That was last year, I think.
Yeah,
they crushed them.
Team total. I'll lay the points there. I'll do it.
I think you could wait before game time though, because people might react to the injury to the point guard. But I've seen a lot of teams when you have a certain system in place, the point guard who's controlling everything, who's calling the plays, doing the signals, all that stuff. I do think that's going to be a bit of a loss. But defensively at home, Houston just kills you. They just smother you to pieces. And I just think that that's going to happen in this game. South Florida, I don't see how they're going to score.
I'm with you. Groovy Cap says Vanderbilt going to put up 12 3-pointers today.
Could be. That's kind of the secret of their offense. They got Pippen Jr., and they rely a bunch on three-point shooting.
Shoot. What do we think of this Tennessee team, bud? They kind of...
they're a Barnes team. So they're going to finish the season somewhere ranked in the 20s, and they'll lose in probably the second round of the tournament.
Awful. They've been awful on the road so far.
Not good.
At least in conference play. No wins at all, including a really bad loss to LSU and then getting curb stomped by Kentucky by almost 30 last time out. I'll take a spin on the home dog there. I'll take a spin on Vandy. I'm okay with that.
I don't mind that either. That, of course, both schools are in Tennessee, so you got a little bit of an in-state rivalry game. Home games are important, but conference games against in-state rivals tend to matter just a little bit more. The crowd's going to be pretty excited for that game.
Somebody talk about the Wisconsin game. Where you at on your alma mater? You fading them, buddy?
No, I actually like Wisconsin, which means they're probably going to lose. But Northwestern's a team that had the nice upset win against Michigan State over the weekend, but they're going to be a little bit shorthanded, or most likely shorthanded. And the most impressive part about Northwestern's win was that they beat Michigan State
Without Pete
while
Nance.
missing arguably their best player.
Not even arguably. Certainly their top scorer in Pete Nance.
Yeah,
And the only
Pete Nance averaging 17+ points per game, 7+ rebounds per game. He's questionable for this game.
But
If he's not, I would gamble on that. I think Wisconsin should be favored by more.
You'll see. I've got this game, and my power ratings is about 5.8. So just saying, it
might be one of those games where Northwestern has our best guys out. Let's circle the wagons. Let's have one game where we step up, and I feel like that was the spot.
And you'll see this every once in a while when a team is missing their big man, that they'll run a different offense. They'll run a little faster. They'll take a few more outside shots, and if they get them to hit, if they get them to go down, then it's a different kind of style, and the other team's not prepared for it. I think the most impressive thing about that victory that they had over Ohio State was the fact that they out rebounded them. I mean, over Michigan State rather, is they out rebounded them 40 to 30.
I was saying because Wisconsin beat Ohio State, so I wasn't sure who you were talking about.
They Ohio State took care of Northwestern.
The only thing I know is that when you're looking at Wisconsin's roster, and I gave him a bit of a hard time before the season, I did not expect him to just let Davis do his thing. Right. I knew how good he was. I just figured that guard system is so team-oriented, they just wouldn't let him cook. But he's clearly the best player on the court.
Yeah, other than that game against Ohio State, they put up 70 on everybody, that's fairly impressive for this Wisconsin team that's not generally known for their high-flying offense.
Yeah, Wisconsin overs have been a solid play this year.
Yeah, exactly. Nathan Stern said even if Pete comes back, Russ could be an issue. Absolutely could be. Mm-hmm. James Mounts in the house. Good to see you, James.
I'm looking at Wisconsin. You can talk about how it's a good spot for Northwestern to maybe return home, and they have a nice shot at upsetting a top 10 team. They might have just been, I'd say, celebrating so heavily in the Michigan State game that you might just have a letdown after such a shocking road upset.
Yep, because that was
because nobody had them winning,
and that was a revenge game as well.
Yeah,
over Michigan State, so that was huge.
I think Wisconsin wins by 7.
Somebody asking about the Florida State, obviously the Miami North Carolina game. Miami at home catching 2 in the hook. Scott, they've been they pulled a big upset at Duke. They've been kind of an average team at home. What do you think of this North Carolina team? We haven't talked about them a lot this year.
Well, North Carolina, of course, is my favorite team. They're the team I root for. And the big men are there with Manic and with Baycott. Now, Baycott, of course, had that ridiculous 20+ game against Virginia, which he should because Virginia doesn't have any big men. But they should dominate the glass in pretty much every game they're in, which is really par for the course. That's what North Carolina has been known for the last couple of years. The questions are the guards because you're relying a lot on Davison with Love, and Miami's got a bunch of experience. Wong's a very good guard. They got a lot of pieces. So the question that you have to ask is which advantage is going to be more noticeable, Miami in the backcourt or North Carolina in the front court? And even though, of course, Miami usually is very tough to play against when they're at home, this year hasn't been that case to the same extreme as it usually is. North Carolina is so good at home, but they've really been just average at best on the road. I don't mind a money line play on Miami. I think that Miami's going to be in there to the end. There's been a lot of money on the under because North Carolina's been playing a really good defense, but the pace should be really solid for the over. At this point, since it's already gone down about 4 or 5 points, I think over's the play right now.
All right, very solid. Hey, let's talk about let's talk about we're going to talk about that game a little bit last night, and what better way to do it than put it in the one of our favorite segments. But first, we do want to remind you to like and subscribe. Please do it, or the NFL will add an 8th playoff team next season. Fuck, nobody wants to see that. So please like and subscribe. Check out our buddies Jim Williams and Chris King over there doing their just parlays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern time every single day. All right, Scott, let's talk about this a little bit. Let's find out. There was definitely some drinking, some questionable lines last night, and no bigger one than the one we're about to talk about. The odds makers, they were definitely drunk when it comes to this one. All right. So if you were joined us last night for our live broadcast, we were all excited. We're going to have a tight NFC West contest there between the Rams and the Cardinals. Not exactly what happened, Scott. It was Rams -3, and which basically means those teams are even, right? You get about 2.7 points for home field advantage this season, I believe, is where they have it at.
So so close game, 1 possession, fourth quarter, or something like that.
Exactly. Exactly. Odds makers are telling us that they expect this one to come down to the wire. And yeah, none of those things happened. Cliff Kingsbury and the Arizona Cardinals, a complete no-show in that game. 183 yards of offense. They lose by 23 points. Of course, they screwed every play that I had as far as play of the day goes, because it was a lot of it counted a lot on Stafford throwing the ball around the yard. Yep. Didn't happen. What did he throw? 17 passes, 16 passes?
It was about 16 too many.
Yeah, just brutal. So, they lose by 23. It could have been worse than that. If you guys, I swear we are going to do, Scott, we are going to do a live broadcast one of these days with a good football game.
One of these, well, the Bama-Georgia game was good in the second half.
Yeah.
Just the first half was awful.
True. And the Arizona-LA game was good for about 5 minutes, and then it just went downhill.
Pretty much.
14-0, Arizona was in serious trouble. And then, the game really turned when they overturned that catch on the sideline.
I thought it was incomplete, so I was surprised they called it a catch in the first place. But
close.
It could have gone either way. You just know when push comes to shove, when you have a tough call like that, it's usually ruled incomplete.
Yep.
Usually.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? I put that in the wrong segment.
It honestly, it works either way. It's fine.
It really does. It was supposed to be. I'm not mad. I'm disappointed.
I was going to let us rant about Kingsbury and that offense. But we can just do it now, honestly.
I do have to give Kingsbury this, though. Okay.
It's one thing the team knows shows, and we talked about it on air yesterday, where we know Arizona's offensive line had no answers the entire game, and Murray was running for his life. But if you're going to be, I'd say, promoted as an offensive genius when you enter the league and when you're supposed to lead Kyler Murray in this ridiculous offense, you have like 10 yards in the first quarter.
Yeah.
You have 183 yards in the full game, and about 70 of those yards came on one garbage time drive.
Yep.
So when it actually mattered, you had what, like 100 total yards of offense in the entire game?
Yeah. Yeah, that's it, buddy.
I mean, that's just... It's one thing maybe if you're Vic Fangio and you have no offensive background at all.
Right.
And you're like, oh, a Rex Ryan offense has 100 yards. Like, who's surprised? But you're the offensive guru. You're the guy. You have to do better than 100 yards when it matters.
Yep. Very nice. Elliot V said he hit a home run last night. He got laid and paid.
I remember he was waiting for the Fred Smith benefits. Congratulations, Elliot. Proud of you.
Yeah, he had a nice hotel room and everything, man.
They call him Mariano Rivera because he closes.
Derek Jones in the house. What up, Derek? That's it. If it's a good game, if we don't get to hear about Scott Sr.'s delinquent early days. No shit. Yeah, we went down some rabbit holes last night.
I can't even say we went off the rails because we really weren't on the rails at any point during the game.
No, there was no rails at all in that one. So we're going to take this weekend off because Scott's going to be flying. Saturday night will be his last night in Florida. He's going to be doing family stuff, and then Sunday night he'll be flying. So we're going to take off.
I'm not sure when I'll be back, and by that point, I don't want to bother.
We will do a live broadcast for one of the championship games the next weekend. So, and then I think we're not going to do the Super Bowl, right? We're going to let everybody do their own thing with the Super Bowl. We might put the question.
I don't really know because
we're going to put it out.
I don't want to blame COVID again, but are Super Bowl parties cool again?
I don't know, man.
Nobody knows, you know?
I don't know because it's been.
That's the only thing stopping us, by the way, is that we would do it, but I don't know if either of us are going to plan on doing anything or if any of you are going to have Super Bowl parties to go to. But I really don't know with whatever the hell's going on with the Omicron variant mixed with some other stuff. Are people actually having get-togethers at this point?
I don't know.
Nobody knows. So maybe not.
I will tell you this. Most of the folks we had last night for the live broadcast were pretty disparaging of Super Bowl parties.
They really didn't seem to be a fan of it.
They're fans. They're fans of football. And, you know,
I think the one exception I'll make for a Super Bowl party is if the people you're with are equally either invested in the bets because they have something, or they also just like the game. But it's when you have the people who show up who aren't paying attention throughout the entire season, a couple of girlfriends mixed here and there, they just want to see the commercials.
Right.
It's a mix of priorities where you get a problem. But if you have a whole group of people who are only interested in the actual game itself, then it's a great time having other people with you.
Yeah, if I want to spend commercial time bitching about how the Chiefs' offensive line can't block anybody, and somebody tells me the commercials are on, you're out. Get your shit, hit the door, you're gone. So I will say the last 2 years between COVID and the Chiefs, the big thing, the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl, so I'm not going to any kind of goddamn. I'm not going to any kind of fucking party where there's 40 or 50 people there. I want to watch the game. I want to run back shit. I want to look at things. I want no part of a Super Bowl party. So
I think that's the point that I run into, is that when I have a Super Bowl game to watch in my lifetime, the only action or whatever interest I have is who I bet on, because of course my teams aren't getting in there.
Right. James Mount says great storytelling last night. I think if we learned from anything last night, I'm once again astounded I'm still alive. No question about that. A Super Bowl party where everybody is invested in the game has never existed. It has to be pretty small. I will say, I'll put the caveat of more than 5 people. You can get a good.
I think 5 is the ceiling.
Yeah. Yep.
We had a couple of good Super Bowl parties. One of them was actually the Patriots-Seahawks one, where I actually won the fourth quarter box and that interception by Butler. But we had about 5-6 people. Somebody's father was doing the grilling, so we had some barbecue stuff going on. And it was about 5-6 guys. We had the boxes. We had some player props. It was a fun time.
Browns Packer says, take your cheap beer and go home. Yeah, I think there's nothing more classless than somebody that brings like a 6-pack or a 12-pack over and then takes the remnants home. Hey, there's 3 Busch Light left. You care if I take them?
So you're telling me if you go to a potluck dinner, you're not supposed to take the 1 quarter left of the apple pie you brought?
Well,
no, of course you leave it. It's in possession of the house,
unless it's in your own. Like if you brought like a pie pan, a ceramic thing, you have to take home. Then it's okay. But if you bring something and fucking take it home, like if you bring takeout or something and fuck you.
That's your fault for not drinking the whole 6-pack.
You're never ever going to my fucking Super Bowl party. I'll tell you that much.
No, it's all community.
Yes. Beer is potluck. Yes, absolutely. Bring fucking beer. So, somebody asked about the Knicks game tonight, Scott.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of NBA games to talk about, so let's start with the Knicks one.
Yeah.
Of course, the Knicks had the no-show yesterday. We mentioned it on the rocking chair with the Hornets. LaMelo didn't even play, so it was even a worse showing by the Knicks. They're a 500 team. That's 1 game below 500. So MSG, what a great home court advantage. They have a losing record at home. So it's really not that present this season. Meanwhile, Minnesota's not good on the road. They're 1 game under. They did beat Golden State last game. No Curry, no Draymonds. They were just handed a free win, but they took it. This Knicks team isn't good. I think Minnesota has some upside when healthy. They got Towns, they got Edwards, they got D'Angelo Russell. They can actually score. Can the Knicks actually score? Not really.
They haven't lately. I wanted to ask you about Knicks defense. Are they actually back? They've given up.
You can say
105 of their last 7. Haven't given up 110.
That's the real issue, though, is that I have a hard time determining if you're playing great defense or if your pace is so slow that your numbers are inflated or deflated in this case because you're just limiting the amount of possessions from both teams. Could go either way.
Brad Crawford says most people bring their own coolers. I want my 3 Busch Lights. Favorite beer in Vegas vacation. I drank a lot of Busch in college. God, it was because I went to Mizzou and it was kind of a St. Louis town, and so we drink a lot of Busch in kegs. That was what was on tap. What did you guys have in Wisconsin when you brought a keg? What was usually there?
Busch.
Yeah, there you go. Some things never.
It was either Busch Latte or we would occasionally mix with some. I don't think we ever had Coors, but we'd have some cheap beers. Busch was usually the choice.
Yeah,
we call it God's beer in Wisconsin.
Okay, fair enough. How do you feel about this Knicks team tonight, buddy?
That's the thing, is that they played yesterday, so fatigue might be a factor, but they were so bad, you do wonder if they can step up. But people have expected the Knicks to step up all season long,
Right.
and they really haven't done it. I'm going Minnesota because when push comes to shove, I expect a close game, but the Timberwolves can score. And I'm not sure the Knicks can. They played once this season. The Knicks won, but throw it in the garbage because Towns didn't play and Edwards didn't play. So who cares? That doesn't mean anything to me. So I'm going to take Minnesota.
All right, I'll go the other way. It's kind of a weird travel spot for Minnesota. Played Golden State and then go to New York. I thought they were Golden State on the road. Never mind, not that bad. I still think the Knicks step up here. I really do. I don't know why. I just got a hunch.
I'm tired of waiting to expect them to step up. I feel like people have just expected them to step up the whole season long, and that just hasn't happened.
Good question. Good point. Bronco Devil says old Milwaukee. It's a beer that made Milwaukee famous. No, that was not. That was somebody else, wasn't it? That was false.
That was Miller, I thought.
Was it? Yeah, fuck, I'm old. Can Golden State cover 15?
It was called Miller Park, so I'm assuming Miller's the beer that Milwaukee's known for.
There was a beer. Maybe somebody in the comment section knows that old time is the beer.
Blatz? Like I don't know. I know.
It was either like Falstaff or Schlitz or Hams.
Schlitz I've heard of.
Never heard of Falstaff?
No, that I've never heard of.
Hams beer?
Yes, Hams I've heard of. Oh God, that's the ultimate cheap keg if you're trying to kill everybody at the party.
Old stuff.
Oh God, Hams. Never again. Oh God, that's one of my least favorite beers. It's either that or Red Dog. Red Dog was bad too. That was really bad.
I don't know Red Dog. My dad grew up. My dad drank Hams when I was growing up. That's what was.
Hams was not a good time.
So
you had some PBR as well occasionally.
Yeah, Curry's going tonight, Scott. He's upgraded to probable. Frank Jackson's out. Livers is out for Detroit, of course. Still, Jeremy Grant still out. 15.5, man. Can they cover 15.5?
They can. I mean, the Suns killed the Pistons by about 30 the other day, so I'm not surprised. Of course, the Suns are clearly in much better form than the Warriors right now. The Warriors are, I don't want to say falling off a cliff, but they're approaching a hill. Let's say it that way, because Draymond's going to be out for another couple weeks. Curry's been awful shooting the ball, so you do wonder if he can bounce back. Do I trust Detroit? Not really, but I don't really have any thoughts on this game, do you? I feel like if you like the Warriors to cover, just take Curry like over 30 points. Because if they're going to cover, they probably will need Curry to have a huge game.
Yeah, this is a...
Where else are they getting their scoring from?
Yeah,
Jordan Poole? Like, that's basically it, isn't it?
Pretty much.
Clay, who's been okay since he came back?
It's a Detroit team that hasn't been fantastic with big spreads. They are a road underdog of more than 12.5 points. They're 1-3 this season. That is not ideal at all.
But the one time, I don't remember if they were home or road, but they did beat Milwaukee, which I think was on the road. I think that's the one exception.
Golden State, home favorite, 12.5 or more, 4-1 against the number.
But of course, it's with a healthy Curry and a healthy Draymond.
I know.
Draymond's huge for that team.
Draymond's going to play. Oh, no, he's out. I'm sorry.
Draymond's out. He's out for the next 2-3 weeks. Like, he had a setback the other day.
He's got the calf injury. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Well, it was worse. It was a calf injury, but they realized that it was mixed with some back issue. So he's going to be out for even longer. So they're going to have to deal without him for a while.
Which Scott would be more pissed if they swapped haircuts? I'm guessing Reichel would be.
I would just get my hair cut if I had your haircut.
Any thoughts on Russell Wilson, buddy?
My thoughts, I think he's going to stay in Seattle. I think it's another offseason that has a bunch of offseason drama.
Yep.
Where are they going to go? What's going to happen? And then nothing happens. They just go back. Because Russell Wilson, he said all the right quotes. He wants to stay in Seattle. I believe him. I mean, I don't know why he would want to leave Seattle. Of course, the team isn't great. So I guess that would be the argument. But I do think if he stays, Pete Carroll's gone. So I do think they're going to pick Wilson over Carroll in the situation. So that's how I'm looking at it.
Bronco Devil, I feel bad for Denver fans because they've got a pretty good core. They've got a really good defense. They've got some fine receivers.
The offensive line's okay. The running backs are good.
Good enough running backs. Yep, absolutely true. They got a couple of problems on the offensive line, but I think those can be fixed.
Yeah.
It's not a bad landing spot, Scott, for like teams that are desperate for a quarterback. It's probably one of the better spots. I think it's an attractive place for a quarterback to go. Having said that, I don't think Russell Wilson goes anywhere. I think he stays.
I think him and Rodgers are both staying still.
I agree. All right, buddy. Let's get to it. Time flies, huh? We're used to having 4 hours like we did yesterday. All right, bud. Let's get to it. I know you're going to look funny down there in Florida with your straw hat, but I'm going to insist that you put it on. Put your straw hat on. Put your overalls on. I know you brought your John Deere with you. Climb up on board that motherfucker and fire it up because it's time once again, the Florida edition of Bet the Farm. Scott, how did we do yesterday?
So we ended up having the under in the Eastern Illinois game, and now that is 14-0 on the season.
Cue the banjos! Yeehaw! All right, here we go, Scott. What do we got cooked up for today, my friend?
So for this one, we're going to the one sport we didn't talk about, hockey. And there's one matchup that we like involving the Islanders, and it's a bit of deja vu because they just played the Flyers yesterday, and we like the Islanders again on the money line at -125. The Islanders have won 4 of their last 5 games. The Flyers have lost each of their last 8 games. Full implosion on your hands there. They played yesterday, as I said. Islanders won 4-1, and the Islanders have dominated the head-to-head meetings. They are 6-0 in the last 6 meetings. Give us the Islanders at -125.
Yep. You want to put a little sprinkle on the under there? That is a Steam Machine recommended play. My kid played that yesterday. He was on it, and that was a victory. And I'm sure he's going to be on it again today. So take a look at that parlay as well. But our official Bet the Farm play is going to be your New York Islanders -125. So there you go. That's going to do it for the show, and that is going to do it for our Bet the Farm play. As always, thanks for hanging with us, guys. Sorry about the hour's delay. You got to make sure Scotty's down there comfy in the Fontainebleau.
Yeah, we'll be back to normal time tomorrow.
Yep, I was just going to say, we're going to be regular time starting again tomorrow. So everybody, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for joining us. And again, thanks for joining us last night. If you haven't checked out a live broadcast, it is a lot of fun, and we interact with everybody in the comment section. So definitely check that out here in a couple of weeks when we do that. So you guys have a great day. Scott, go get you some stone crabs, would you? Joe's and grab a couple for me, buddy. Have fun down there in Miami, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. Good luck on all of your plays, and of course, don't forget to join us each and every day, 3 p.m. Eastern to 2 p.m. Central, as Scott and I do our very, very best to help you in your journey to head back